50-year energy plan. So we're going to use spreadsheets to help us think through this plan. So there's almost no way to just think up this plan. You got to use a computer in your mind to come up with that. So let's get a lay of the land here. So let's just starting at the top. Okay, here's the different decades, the 2010s, which are over now. So you can see that we started the 2010 with around 43% of our energy coming from hydro, and there was no change, largely because hydro has been maxed out. Jumping down to coal, you can see we started with around 37%, and over the last decade, we've reduced it by 5%. So we're now at 32% here at the start of the 2020s. All right, and then you can just see each decade. All right, that next one, percent energy needed. All right, so it's 100% of 2010. By the 2020s, we need about 105% of the energy we did at the start of the 2010s. And then you can see it goes up by about 5% each decade. Expected change. Okay, well, this is how much the economy can handle changing. And you can see we're expecting a lot of change in the next couple decades, and then it decreases. And that's largely because there's this move to get off of coal and fossil fuels. So coal is going to actually need to decrease. So we not only need to replace it, but we need to add 5%. So coal is going to be going down and the other ones are going to have to go up. All right, so let's look at the stats of our different energy sources. I'm going to actually just skip down to natural gas. So natural gas has a land use of 3. Most people don't want a natural gas power plant near them. It does have a rather large climate impact. It is burning fossil fuels. And then there is a lifetime cost. In one sense, in the dollars that you pay for construction and to maintain the facility, it is inexpensive. There are critiques that that doesn't include the costs of the impact of what it releases in the form of pollution and its impact on the climate. We'll see that with every power source. It is quite reliable, so it has that max score of 5. The max mix is 30%, and the max increase is around 6%. The next one is nuclear. Its land use is smaller. Its climate impact is much smaller. In fact, much of the biggest climate impact comes from the construction of the plant itself. And it has a lifetime cost relatively high because this lifetime cost is including handling the nuclear waste. It does have a high reliability. It could have quite a high max mix. However, it is important to note that as part of Oregon's constitution, you have to have a vote that goes to the people to actually build a power plant in Oregon. All right, but in any case, we're going to now look through all the different energy sources we have, and we got to recreate that mix because we have to grow by 5%, so we get up to 110. So we're starting 2020s with 105. We need to get up to 110 over the next decade. So we need to add 5% plus offset whatever we lose with decreasing coal. And we're not going to get a thumbs up unless we do that. So we're a thumbs up to start 2020s, but we're a thumbs down for the growth of the 2020s to have us ready for 2030. Now the percent growth check, you can't change too much. The economy just can't handle that. So, but with 35, of course, we have to decrease coal. That's a change, and then increase the other sources. And then again, we have to have reliable power. That was part of our constraints. So your power score must be above a 3, and we're at a 4.3, so we can handle a little bit of it. But if you get too many unreliable sources, that's unacceptable. Our criteria, that's of course that sliding scale of goodness, that the land use and environmental impact. In 2010, people are unhappy with it. The climate impact and air quality, people are really unhappy with, which is why we need to change the energy mix going forward. And then the lifetime cost. People are, relatively speaking, happy with uh, it. So now you have to go through and just kind of figure it out. There's no right way. Kind of just put in some numbers and see what the effect is. So I can't change hydro, so this is a 0. Really, we could just put zeros all the way across right now. Um, I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a big chunk out of coal, so I'm gonna do -20. So that gets me down to 12. Okay, natural gas. I'm not going to use. I'm actually going to use some numbers of a student, and they had decided to do nuclear, which again I will say requires a the constitutional amendment does require a referendum to the people. And then they tried wind 3. They started the smart grid, which as you use more and more unreliable um, renewable sources like solar, it has a low reliability, so you got to offset that with smart grid and energy storage. And these take a long time to build, so the max change is only 2%, so I'm going to start early. Okay, so I'm just trying that out, and I'm going to see how I did. I have a thumbs down. I only got up to 102 and I need to get up to 110. So I need to add 8 more. Oh, that's a problem though. I'm changing things too much. Okay. So I'm going to actually need to back off. I can't cut that much coal that quickly. So I'm going to back off to 15. So what happened there? So, okay, that's good. So because I have that more coal than my first plan, I'm back up to 107. So I still need to grow by 3. And look at that, the growth check. I have the possibility of growing by 3. So let me see how I'm doing on my criteria though. The environmental impact, land use stayed the same. I'm getting a little better with my climate impact. My cost has gone up a little bit. Okay, so I probably need to add something that is not too expensive. I'm going to add a little biomass because I remember from class we talked about there's a few more plants going in. So what do I need? I need to expand by 3. So, and it can handle, it has a max change of 2. So I'll put 2 there and I still need 1 more. I'm going to do geothermal. In fact, I might even if I do 2 there. Oh, again, I have a little extra power and I've gone over too much change. Looking at my numbers, I might back off a little bit of my solar. And what can I do? I can reduce it by 1. Okay, look at that. I got up to 110 for preparing for the 2030s. I'm within my growth check. My reliability is high enough. And my land use environmental impact didn't improve very much. My climate impact did. And my cost did get a little more expensive. Okay. All right, so there's my version of the 2020s. Please don't just copy mine. Think about where you want to experience your changes. And then we'll just do that decade by decade. And towards the end, you'll realize that you want to it is impossible to have 3 smiley faces. So right now you might say, oh, you're good, except for you're not. You haven't met the criteria. So if you haven't met the constraints, if you have any thumbs down, your plan doesn't work. So it's going to get more and more difficult to have the thumbs be up for the constraints and have everyone happy. So it is impossible to have everyone super happy on all 3. So really you have to prioritize one of your criteria. That's probably the one you're going to want the super smiley face for. And then you're going to try to do the best you can with the other 2. And hopefully that's at least a smiley face, but you might have one frowny face, 1 smiley face, 1 super smiley. Do try to have 1 super smiley. All right, good luck, and I hope it's educational.